Hasne bo'er ba'esh v'hasne enenu ukal. The first prophetic vision that Moshe Rabbeinu has, the man who is destined to become the Av HaNaviim, the greatest Novi of all times, has a vision of a bush in the Midbar, a seemingly totally insignificant plant in the middle of the most nondescript place, Acha HaMidbar, and yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no, you got it wrong. This burning bush, enenu ukal, there's something magnificent and something special about the current situation symbolized in this burning bush. And not only that, but the place where the burning bush is Admas Kodesh. Why is it Admat Kodesh? Because it is destined to be the Har Hu Elokim. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu does for Moshe Rabbeinu, he gives him a sense of the goal. He has to start with the goal in mind. The goal is Tavdun et Elokim al Har Hazeh. This mountain will be the moment when everything that we're going to do together is going to make sense. It won't make sense in the moment, in the present, but it will make sense when they stand at Har Sinai. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks them, do you accept to become a Mamlechet Kohanim V'Goy Kadosh? And they say, Na'aseh v'nishma, and that's it, Al Shema Atid. In the here and now, it seems like an impossible situation. And indeed, the Kliyaka, Rabbeinu Bachai both say that the burning bush is really Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, who are exiled, enslaved, persecuted, and crushed, and seemingly have no future. Like a thorn bush in the middle of the desert. Everybody knows under desert conditions, a thorn bush needs one spark and it's gone in a flash. And yet here's this bush burning and burning and burning. And it's not being consumed. And the message is that Klal Yisrael have an inner strength which, despite all the golus, all the exile, all the suffering, all the confusion, all the persecution, nevertheless, they are Netzach Yisrael, they have an eternity which can't be crushed. Moshe Rabbeinu actually, amazingly, refuses the job. He's offered the job to lead Klal Yisrael, and 3 times he says, no, shlach, no beyat tishlach. I'm not the right person for it, I can't do this. Why not? And the key point here is, he says, V'heim lo yaminu li. They don't believe me. Klal Yisrael are finished. There's no emunah left in them. It's true they haven't changed their clothing and their speech and their names, but that's just ethnic Judaism. That's just chicken soup. They've lost the mitzvahs. They've lost the emunah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to him, no, you're wrong. You're underestimating the spiritual strength of even the simplest Jew. Has within him an emunah which you can activate. Go and talk to them. And indeed, we find in the parasha, it says, Vayamein ha'am. Moshe Rabbeinu was wrong. He got it wrong. They indeed had a greater emunah than he imagined, and that is really the great moment of the burning bush, which tells Moshe Rabbeinu of what his mission is, and that it's possible. But here's an interesting thing, that there were some people who could see a positive future even in the bleakest times, and Chazal connect this to the certain women and in this generation. There's a Gemara in Saita, and it's brought down in the Medrash in the name of Rabbi Akiva, B'zchus noshim tzidkonios nigalu mimitzrayim. It was in the merit of special women that the Yetzias Mitzrayim took place. And I like to give it a slightly different, maybe, parish than what is generally accepted, and that is that this reference to noshim tzidkonios is a reference to our Parsha Shemos, in which 4 women are highlighted. 4 women without whom Moshe Rabbeinu wouldn't have existed. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu, who is what, if you like, the front man, he's the leader, nevertheless, behind him are 4 special women who together really made it possible for Yetzias Mitzrayim, made it possible that this flame inside the bush won't destroy the Jewish people, but on the contrary, they have a future. And who were they? The first one, of course, is Yocheved, his mother, who gives birth to him under difficult circumstances, even in the worst context of slavery and persecution. She gives birth to him. Vatera oso kitovu. When he's born, she says kitov. Now, the word kitov, very briefly, is a code word in the Torah. It appears in Bereshit chapter 1 repeatedly 6 times. In different stages. HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates the plants and Totzei Haaretz Desha, Vayar Elokim Ki Tov. He creates a solar system, Vayar Elokim Ki Tov. He creates the animals, Vayar Elokim, everything is Ki Tov. Says the Kli Yakar, Ki Tov doesn't actually mean he saw that it is good. The word ki, very often in the Tanakh, is a future reference, like ki teitzei la milchama loivecha. Ki tovo el oretz, when at some future date this is going to happen. But Ya'alokim ki tov means HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw it had all the potential in the here and now to be tov, to have a purpose, to have a cosmic purpose. Yocheved sees the infant Moshe, and she sees in some intuitive way. She sees Ki Tov. She says that he has, Rashi says, the whole house was filled with light. This is the light of Yom Rishon, the first day of creation. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates Hi-Or, Hi-Or, Vayalokim Ki Tov. The first Ki Tov is the light of the first days of creation, came back into the world and Moshe Rabbeinu was born, because that light symbolizes the spiritual force underlying the whole future of mankind. She sees that, and she is able to launch, if you like, the life of Moshe Rabbeinu, and indeed eventually to nurse him the first 2 years of his life and give him his infanthood identity as a member of Klal Yisrael. The second person, of course, is Miriam. Miriam, the older sister, takes responsibility for him. She wants to know what's going to happen to him, and she orchestrates it. She makes sure that he's looked after and that he's protected under the most difficult circumstances. The third of the Noshim Tzidkonios is a not Jewish woman at all, Bat Paro, who Chazal referred to as Batya, right? She is able to feel such a strong sense of chesed, such a strong sense of caring and generosity and kindness towards this Jewish child, that she's willing to risk her life and defy her father, Paro, defy the Egyptian laws, and to save this child at all costs. So she has a tremendous merit of chesed, ultimate chesed. According to Chazal, she joins the Jewish people. She's Mizgaya and joins Klal Yisrael. And she gives him his name, right? So Yocheved gives birth to him. Miriam protects him. Basya gives him his name, and in that sense launches his destiny. And the fourth person is his wife, Tzipporah. At a crucial moment in the parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu made a mistake and thought that it wasn't yet time to give a bris milah to his son Eliezer because circumstances were so difficult, it was too dangerous. But she understood immediately that was not the case, that the brit milah had to happen instantly. The bris milah connects us to Avram Avinu, lachnise b'vrisa shel Avram Avinu, and that's what was essential at the moment, and she acts instantly and saves his life. So we have Yocheved and Miriam, Basya and Tzipporah. These are the Noshim Tzidkonios, which were at the background to make Yetzias Mitzrayim possible. They made it possible because they cultivated and produced a Moshe Rabbeinu who was able to stand in the middle of the desert, and there's nothing there which inspires any optimism at all, except that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I will give you a nevuah. Tavdu ez Elokim al ha'ar hazeh. Klal Yisrael have a cosmic future, an infinite future, a future of Kabbalah Torah, to become Mamlechet Kohanim V'Goy Kadosh, and it'll happen here, at the place of this bush, at this bush, where this bush is burning, but it doesn't get burnt, doesn't get consumed. That is the simon of Netzach Yisrael, the indestructibility of Klal Yisrael, that even in the lowest times, in the most difficult times, and even people who appear to have no connection to Klal Yisrael at all, right? Nevertheless, within them there is the emunah which Moshe Rabbeinu can activate, and through that to bring them out of Mitzrayim to Har Sinai, and throughout the history of Klal Yisrael, despite all the golus and difficulties and suffering, it has been this tremendous inner strength generated by the women of Klal Yisrael who have a intuitive vision. Sophia Halichos Beisah. They can see beyond the obvious, beyond the present circumstances that may be bleak. They can see that they can actually see the ultimate goal, even in difficult times, and that is Pasha Shemot, and that is the great bracha that we see here for Klal Yisrael in the future.